Hi guys and girls, today I'm going to show you how to plaster a curved bay window. I've got the top lid of the bay as well that I'll be putting on, but you won't be seeing that because this is that's fairly straightforward. This is our main order of concern. How to lay the stuff on, how to trowel it up. What I will be doing, now you don't need to do this, I'm going to be fitting a stock bead, curving it around this curve of the bay. If the curve was too sharp, the bead wouldn't work because you'd get kinks in it as you were trying to put it in. If you have a slight curve, as this is, it can be done. And I will be sticking it back a section at a time using the old mitre glue, which I've been using for donkeys now, which is great. You don't have to put a bead around the top here because there will be a windowsill going on which comes out past that anyway. But I thought for the process today, for the video, I'll put one on. It does give you a nice edge when you're troweling this way rather than just doing it freehand around the top. So that's the only reason for doing it, but it's not essential. Basically, you level up the top of that over to there, and gently, really from the middle, make sure that the bead will actually go into the curve without kinking. Which is this. I'm gluing up the bead, and what you'll find with this stuff and with an accelerator is that you can push one section of the bead on with the glue, spray the accelerator over the top. It does go through the holes and sets the glue more or less instantly, and that way you can hold the first part down tight against there and then spray it so it fixes it, and then push the next part of the bead in and then spray that section to also hold that in. I mean, using a mitre glue like this isn't what some would call the proper way to fix any kind of beads on anywhere. Well, they used to be stuck on either with screws, nails, or most of the time when I was taught you actually bedded them into the plaster. But I've been using this for quite a while now because it is so instant. If you want to plop some beads around a room, then this is the best way to go about it. Obviously you still need to level them up, and you can do them like this against old plaster, original plaster, on plasterboard. But outside of that, a lot of people now use bead fix tape to fix their beads. Staplers to staple them on. It's basically, if it works and it does a good job, then I'm all for it. And as I say, I've been using the old mitre glue an awful lot of the time now when I'm sticking beads, unless they need dubbing out. Okay. So I'll apply the glue. Approximately into position, and then I'll go to the beginning here. As I said, that first part, you can literally glue the bead on. Working my way around the curve. It's amazing how this stuff works. Put it up to one end, push into the curve so you can see exactly where you're going to have to cut. Now away you go. Trim your back corners off. Great. Accelerator spray at the handy. Some. Yeah, if you're in a bit of a hurry, like I am, you can now buy fast setting plasters, fast set and finish. I just use Easy Mix half time in mine to take an hour off of the setting time to do this bay up the sides and this small feed into the bay as well. Obviously, you want to be doing this with a decent sized trowel, not something too short or stumpy. But of course, if you try to lay this on the normal way, there's such a big gap there because of the curve that it can't be done really, or not at this stage anyway. So the method is to lay on this way from the start. I tend to find it's probably best to start at the top, or actually to start off of the bead, so you can build the surface out a little bit and then fill in the bead upwards from that as we go, but you'll see what I mean as we go around. Okay. So it's good to get a bit of gear on it first. If you just try to whack it up at the bead straight away, you'll probably drop a hell of a lot of it on the floor. And you literally just follow the curve. So what I'll do here, I'll go straight through the centre first and then fill up to the bead after. Obviously, if you have this, the thinner you have this, the easier it is to drop. Especially if you're a bit more novice when it comes to plastering. If it's thicker, you will drop less. Of course, it also means I start picking up faster as well. Which you may or may not want, depending on the size of the bait. The plasterballs underneath aren't exactly curved, they're going to very tight angles. So it's the plaster that's actually bringing the proper curve into the bay instead of it looking like a hexagon or octagon. You can use the toe on the heel of your trowel to drop a bit in those spots to take away. Of course, you will need to trowel from left to right, if not up and down. Start to go up closer to the bead and into the end bead that I've got going up in the angle. Also, if you just lay the top part on there, you only really need to be putting gear on the top part of your trowel as opposed to right the way across down the middle. So, on there, one way, and then the other. You can draw upwards off the bead time. This is when having the bead around the top makes the curve go a lot more uniform. And just easier to do than if you're doing it freehand. As I say, the bead isn't essential. This can obviously all be done just with a trowel, which is how you would normally do it. But nowadays, I'm running the old speed skim over it, and it should more or less pull the curve out with one go around. Assuming you've got that gear on there. And like anything else, if you're fairly new to the game, then laying on it, laying the gear on sideways will take a bit of getting used to. Okay, if I was just using a trowel, I would let that pick up a bit. Obviously I've got more to lay on, which I would carry on doing that first. When that started to pick up, I will start to put my second coat on and get it flatter. But because I'm using a smooth skin, I'm going to run that round now. Slight angle on this braid skin. You see what we're starting to get. good thing about speed skims is you're getting this nice and flat early on, so you've got plenty of time to crack on with any other skim that you're putting on in this set, which is what I'll be doing off camera in a second now. This one will go all the way back round the other way. And any low spots will get picked up on the second coat. Again, I personally second coat with my first mix as opposed to knocking out a fresh one. Otherwise there's no point in knocking an hour off my setting times. Up here, initially working to the bead. Again, I'm laying on sideways here, which is actually a good way of practicing doing your sideways laying on for when you do come to do a curve bay like this one. I don't know if you can see it on camera at the top here. I've got a narrow section that goes up, which I'll hit with my smaller Marshalltown angled trowel. The panel I'm doing now, it's got two beads, one on the side, and the trowel spans the two beads, so that's easy to get a nice flat layer on there. Okay guys, I've laid the lid of this bail in your absence. I've watered down my first mix. It's getting a little bit thick, so I've got the accelerator in there, which is good because it's picking up now. I can touch that, it's good for a second coat on the top. And another reason you had to use second coats back in the old-fashioned days when I was young was that now you use really thin fiberglass tape on the joints. Back then it was jute screw, which is the Hessian. There's basically strips of sack on a roll, and you put the strips of sack, bedded them into some plaster on your joints, and then knocked up a fresh mix, did your first coat, and then, well, we watered down that mix and then did the second coat, because if you didn't, you would end up with bumps where the hessian was so thick, and apart from the bumps, the hessian would show through. You'd be able to feel the texture of the little squares in it, and basically it'd get condemned or you'd get chucked off the job. So you had to use 2 coats. You could not cover that in 1 coat. The reason why a lot of guys will do a 1 coat now is because you can. Slag me off all you like. I've been plastering for 37 years and I've done 1 and 2 coat stuff. Generally your 2nd coat does flatten down your 1st one. Of course it won't be flattening it down if your 1st one's already gone off too much, which is another reason I don't mix up a fresh 2nd lot from a 2nd batch. Anyway, let's get a 2nd coat on this curved bag. As I say, I've watered this down again. Yeah. It's already thickening up due to the fact when you do water it down, it still goes off at a rapid pace. Okay. Now you can go from the top for the bead. And when this 2nd coat has picked up enough on a wet trowel, and that is when I will give it a spray and take my metal blade, speed skim, over the top. Down a bit, sweep it around. Try to do nice long sweeps on the 2nd coat as well. And ideally, you always want to be doing this in both directions, from your right to your left, from your left to the right. Curved bays are lovely. I just wouldn't want to be the chippy having to carve up the back of a board to bend it, or suck it and bend it, depending on what material you're using. Okay, it's time to leave that to pick up enough for a wet trowel. Okay, that's fairly dry to touch. These little teensy kind of finger marks on there, but it's not wet. What do want to do on spray? Back in the day, I chucked water out of the brush, but it got a lot of water on the floor in that. The brush is your best bet to go down and ready. Okay, let's lay the piece again from the edge. Do I use my brush down these edges when I come to use the ultra flex trap finishing off. We've also already done the ceiling of the bay. Okay, I'm just going to leave that a bit longer, and I'll take the old flexi over it. Okay guys, now I'll use my flexible trout. Put some more water on that curve. It reveals always on the ceiling of the bay. And as I said, take a brush down the ankles. Be careful not to angle your trowel too much, otherwise you'll start to dig that bottom corner of the hearing. Lovely. And now that's the more let's have it. And you can do that whole trowel once it's gone. And here we have it guys, the finished article. Bay ceiling. And down to our curved bay.